Okay, let's roll right into our post race for tonight's 5th annual Quaker State 400 presented by Advanced Auto Parts here at Kentucky Speedway. And we're joined by our 2nd and our 3rd place finishers in tonight's race. Our 2nd place finisher, our race runner-up, is Joey Logano. And Joey's the driver of the number 22 Shell Pennzoil Auto Trader Ford for Team Penske. Our 3rd place finisher from Joe Gibbs Racing is Denny Hamlin. He drives the number 11 FedEx Office Toyota. I'm going to ask Joey first. Joey, seemed like this was a highly competitive race from the standpoint of being able to get up on a car and try to pass and advance your position. But just talk about your performance out there tonight, how you thought the new rules package suited you, and your overall assessment of the evening.
Yeah, I thought I thought the racing was good. I thought we were closer than what we were. The cars were definitely sliding around a lot, especially on restarts. You're definitely and this track's a bumpy track, and we have a hard tire for what we want to have here. But I thought it was an improvement. I felt like we can enter behind each other, and the effect of being behind a car wasn't as big. So I think that's good. You're never going to get rid of it completely. We're going too fast, but I think directionally it was correct. I'll have to rewatch the race to know for sure, but I felt like we made a good step with the Shell Pennzoil Ford over the last couple days here. It was the best run we've had here, or had just in general this year in a while. I felt like it's kind of a different group of cars racing up front than what we've got used to seeing throughout the most of this year and the end of last year. And I don't know what to say about that and why the reason is, but I thought it was a good race. I thought there was 4 or 5 cars that were running the same speed, and it was all about how you got through traffic or how you worked your tires on a long run. And I felt like really get the lead there on that last start, and a pull away from Kyle for a little bit, and then he started making some ground on the top. And when you're 2nd place, you have the advantage of trying to move around and and taking that chance of losing a little bit of time to try to find something. When you're the leader, it's kind of hard to, you don't want to lose much of your gap playing around and trying to find speed. And Kyle got the top rolling, and I just got there too late. And he had some good speed and got by me after a hard-fought battle. But congrats to those guys. They led a lot of the race, so good for them. Just 2nd always hurts.
It's better than 4th.
Yeah, not as good as 1st.
Denny Hamlin is our 3rd place finisher. Strong showing tonight, Denny, by Joe Gibbs Racing. You guys had 4 of the top 5 positions out there tonight, and you certainly made up a lot of ground. Had, I believe, a pit road speeding penalty that you had to overcome early in the race. So let's talk about how you thought the number 11 FedEx Toyota performed, and maybe your take on the lower downforce package.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot better racing that you're going to hear both sides of this story. You're going to hear guys in the front say they like it and guys in the back say they don't. But this is I came from 2 laps down. I passed a ton of cars throughout the day. And there was a pass for the lead inside of 15 laps to go. So can't really complain a whole lot. 15 or 20 to go. Can't really complain a whole lot about that, especially this is a very tough racetrack to pass on anyway. And like Joey talked about, we don't even have a tire honed in on this racetrack yet. Earlier in the day, I blew a right front, and from abusing it, I've blown tires the last 2 years in a row here. Luckily, I caught this one before it blew out completely. But that's what this package is supposed to do. You overdrive the car, you abuse it early in a run. You're supposed to pay the price like we did when we blew a tire. So this is what race car driving's all about. And I feel like now it's back in the driver and crew chief's hands to get their car handling like it's supposed to. Not just an arms race of who can build the fastest cars in the shop.
Thank you, Denny. Carl Edwards from Joe Gibbs Racing, the driver of the number 19 Comcast Minions Toyota out there tonight. Carl, nice run out there this evening. Just to talk about your run out there, certainly you scooted up there to the front of the field and were up there most of the evening. Just talk about how you thought things went out there for you tonight.
Well, I cannot say enough positive things about this direction NASCAR is going with less downforce. I believe that, like these guys said, if the tire, you give Goodyear a little bit of time to work on a tire, take away another, 700,000 pounds of downforce, and we're actually going to be racing. I mean, I felt like a race car driver tonight. I could actually drive the car. I was steering and sliding. I about wrecked a few times. It just felt like I was doing something. It wasn't just sitting in line. So really excited about the racing. I hope it looked good. And I'm not just saying that because we ran well. I made that decision about halfway through the race. Regardless, I was having a good time. So real proud of Kyle. That last restart, I tried to get on the outside of Denny, and I touched him when I was moving up to the outside and kind of choked us both up. And I thought we gave it to Joey, and fortunately Kyle got him back. But definitely a lot of fun racing.
Questions for these three? Let's go to Jeff Gluck, go to Stan and Matt, and then to the press box. Jeff, Stan, and Matt, press box.
You guys have been beating this drum for years, especially Carl. Denny, the whole Drivers' Council concept and everything is, you guys really wanted NASCAR to go this direction. Is there any sort of satisfaction that this was sort of the driver's package and it worked well? Not only what you guys are saying, but on social media as well, it was very well received tonight. Is there any sort of satisfaction among you guys like, hey, we were right?
Well, I think it's just one race, and but we've all driven right behind cars, and I have been right on the right rear quarter panel of guys tonight, and it didn't affect my car nearly as much as it did before. I think we can make it better. I don't think that I think this is just a first little bits and pieces, but I don't think we need to shove in anyone's face, especially NASCAR, that, hey, look, we were right, because it's up to the fans and the media to tell us whether it was a better race or not. You look at the stats maybe and see how many passes there were today, but I know this race has been a challenge for passes in the past, no matter what package. So I think that they figured they could only go up from where they've been at this racetrack in the past. So I thought, definitely from my perspective, I saw a lot more passing going on.
I'm not exactly sure what the question is, but I just want to say one more time, I had more fun racing tonight than I've had on a mile and a half in a long, long time. So to me, that spoiler cannot be small enough. It's stock car racing, and like Denny said, we're all in this together. NASCAR wants this to be the best product on the planet. And after some of the conversations that we've had, I'm really impressed that NASCAR tried this package. I think it says a lot about their willingness to try different things, because I don't really believe this is the package they wanted to try, and so that means the world to me. I think that's really cool.
All right,
Go ahead, Stan.
Stan Creekmore with RPMTonight.com. Kind of similar, but how anxious were you prior to the start of the race, given that most of the practice was rained out, that this was going to work out as well as it did tonight?
I was anxious since Wednesday, and then you sit there in the rain, and then Thursday you're going even crazier, and you just can't wait to get on the racetrack. And maybe just because I can't sit still in general, but I thought for the limited amount of practice that we had, I thought guys did a good job getting their cars driving decent. I went into turn one the first lap of the racetrack or the race, and I slid up the racetrack and slid all over the place. And I was like, whoa, okay, this is not what we're used to here. I need to, obviously change what I did on restarts to try to make the most out of it. So, you got to go back a few years of what you used to do to make speed with your car and pass cars and work traffic and stuff like that. So, I was anxious to see how it would work out. I thought the product was like Carl and Denny said. I think the product on the racetrack was good. I thought it was better. But like I said, we got to rewatch it. We got to look at the stats and all that. But I do think, from our point of view at least, it seemed to be better. From everyone else's, we'll just have to wait and see.
Let's go to who had the mic next. Let's go to Matt, we'll go to Nate, and then we'll go press box. Matt, Nate, press box.
Matt Weaver, AutoE.com. For all three of you guys, Matt Kenseth kind of insinuated the next step to take would be to take away the driver adjustable track bar because he felt like he could pass easier than ever before, but once he was able to make the passes, he was able to dial in his car and defend and kind of prevent guys from passing him that way. Do the three of you guys agree or disagree, or where do you stand?
I don't know what these guys think, but to me it seemed like as the race went on, or even as the runs went on, people got everything dialed in, and it did become harder to pass. So I second Matt's opinion. I think that driver adjustable track bar really, if you get rid of it, it makes guys have to suffer longer, until they can get to work on their car, and that's what you want.
As not a Gibbs driver from a different party, I agree. I think you make passes by figuring out the weakness of the other person in front of you and how you take advantage of that. If you can fix that weakness, how do you pass somebody? So I think directionally, eventually maybe we can get that out. But it's in there. That's the game for everyone. It's the same for everyone. But it does take a lot out of the crew chief's hands during the race. And like I said, when most passes are made from cars that are ill handling. And if you can, crutch it to the next stop, I think it doesn't help the racing, but it's there. I think we're all handling it fine. There's also times that you can fix your car to try to pass cars and make the passes, so it can go both ways.
I agree with Matt and these guys that typically, passing comes from one car having more speed than the other, and typically when you can stick a Band-Aid on your setup until the pit stop by adjusting your track bar and fixing your handling issue, typically that gets everyone running the same speed, and when everyone runs the same speed, there's no passing. So you have to have disparity in speed. There has to be fast cars and slow cars. That's what makes for passing and racing. So if everyone runs the same speed, it's gonna be like a train. So I think that it does Band-Aid us to get to that next stop.
Let's go to Nate, then we'll go to the press box.
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports. I'd like to have all three of you address this because it's applicable to all of you. At the mile-and-a-half tracks this year, it seems like it's been mostly Stewart Haas and Hendrick Chevy shows, and none of those cars were in the top five tonight. It seemed like it was very much a Team Penske versus JGR battle. Is that a sign of a shift? I know Kentucky isn't always the best, isn't always indicative of mile-and-a-half performance because of its surface. Is it because of the package? Is it maybe indication of a shift in the balance power?
Well, last year I think it was Penske and Gibbs too. Even when Stewart Haas and Hendrick were pretty good, I think this track is good for our two organizations. So, if you take the same package to Texas, you might see those guys right back up front again. So, I think that these Penske guys especially really got some great stuff going on here, and obviously we had some good setups as well. I blew a tire early last year, so I watched the whole race, and it was a Penske Gibbs race.
Yeah, I agree with Denny on that. It does seem like, directionally we've gotten more speed over those guys, but this is a very unique racetrack. It's a racetrack that Team Penske's been good at in the past, with bumpy surfaces. When you look at the past, it's been Kyle or Brad really for the most part F1 here. So, those are the two organizations that I feel like are strong here. So I don't want to say, oh, we fixed everything, we're obviously better, but it's hard to say for sure until we get to a place like Kansas or one of those smoother racetracks that that you've seen the Stewart Haas cars and some other Chevys be dominant.
Let's go to the press box. Go ahead.
Lee Spencer Motorsport.com. Carl, I know you tested the low downforce package at Richmond. Can you see them making a move to use it there as well?
I hope so. It wasn't that big of a difference at Richmond with a single car, but there are a couple of things you have to remember. This package really is only a step back to about 2011, so it's not a huge change, number one. Number two, it makes the cars a little harder to drive, so the guy in the car has to work a little harder, but it also puts a smaller hole in the air, so it affects the car behind it more. So to me, all three of those reasons, point to the more they can run this package or to even take a step further, I think the more we're going to learn, the better it's going to be. But we're kind of in a position now. I don't know what these guys think, but as you get towards the chase and you start determining a champion, you don't want to. I'm sure NASCAR doesn't want to make a mistake and try something too crazy or too outside the box and mess up the racing. But I'd be all for trying whatever we can before the chase starts.
Any additional questions in the press box? Okay, back down here. Jessica, did you have one? If we could get her the mic over here.
Jessica Ruffin, NASCAR.com. Apologize if this has already been asked. Just wanted to kind of talk to Denny and Carl about JGR's run tonight, all 4 cars in the top 5. What does that mean for you guys as an organization, and what does that mean for your success on mile and a half this year?
We've just been working very well together as a group. I mean, Denny was basically my counselor the other day after practice. I was so frustrated. I thought my car was terrible. I went straight over and talked to him, and he helped me a little bit. I think overall the group's been working very well. TRD. I'm the new guy, but yeah, it was pretty screwed up if Denny's the counselor of the group. But anyway, yeah. So it's a good group, and it's cool to be a part of it. And these guys, they really push me a lot. I mean, it's cool when your teammates are this fast. It's really neat for me.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, and really, the 4 drivers that Joe Gibbs Racing has said that is going to lead them to a championship have not been working together that long. We've only had Kyle for a few weeks now, so we're starting to build that chemistry, and obviously, anytime you have a driver of caliber of when Kyle came in, Matt, and now Carl, it just continues to push you to go faster and push you to do your job better. And that's what, when you can feed off of each other like that, that's typically how you get to an elite level. And so this is just one race, but obviously it's a big night for Joe Gibbs Racing. Never had all their cars in the top 5 since they've had 4 cars. So this is a great night, and obviously a great night for Kyle.
Just a couple things. You guys were talking about the passing. We keep a lot of those stats. We just got those in. For green flag passes throughout the field, there were 2,665 of those tonight. And the most ever here at Kentucky Speedway was the first race here in 2011. That was 1,147.
Sold. Keep doing it.
Ship it.
Hang on a second.
Oh, get your glasses out. Come on, Kerry.
Okay, my bad. My bad.
Hey, those sounded good. Just go with them.
Yeah,
that was good.
that's good.
No,
That's good.
I was reading it wrong. There were total, though, this year of 2,665 green flag passes throughout the entire field. Last year there were 1,147. Last year there were 1,147. Now, there was a record 22 green flag passes for the lead throughout the entire racetrack, and that is a track record. Previous best was 19 in 2011. So these guys over here did the job, but certainly there was a lot of passing throughout the field here tonight.
Well, you're in charge, so you just tell them that's what we need.
Denny, thank you. Right over here, Stan.
So, do you guys make a quick phone call to NASCAR and say, hey, let's do something similar to this at New Hampshire next week?
So did I get that right there for you?
Come on, all 3 of you, speak up.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, to me, I felt like I was actually driving a race car tonight. So I think the more we can do, the better. And I don't know about New Hampshire, but it doesn't matter to me. We show up at the racetrack with no spoilers on them. It just doesn't matter. It's racing, and it's supposed to be hard. And I think tonight was tough. And like these guys said, you don't pass people because everybody's going the same speed. You pass people because they're making mistakes. And I don't know about you, but I don't think I had a perfect lap tonight. It was tough. Every lap was tough.
I think it'd be hard to do that. You gotta have a little bit of time. These guys have been working hard on their cars and getting ready. Yeah, it sounds pretty easy, I'm sure, but and it's something that we'd all, if it happened, we all can figure it out and go with it, and we'd be fine. We wouldn't complain about it, but I would assume they'd say they have to give us a week or at least to kind of get ready. But hey, if not, we're good.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I love it as much as Carl, but I think if it's something that you want to go with, then you need to give everyone a month heads up. You know, like we're beginning of July now. If you tell everyone from August 1st on, we're running the package, it'll at least give the team some time to prepare. I think, you know, like everyone's prepared their car for New Hampshire, and really if you take the spoiler off there, you're not really going to notice that big of a difference. So I think the tires tuned into that package there and everything. So, you know, we've been away from home a lot, and these team guys are running ragged right now. A lot of them have to turn around and go right back to a Chicago test tomorrow or on Monday. So eventually we got to just take a breath and give these guys a break.
Final question right over here, Dad Tilly.
Package here was much less spoiler. Down the road at Indianapolis and Michigan, you get more spoiler, trying to develop maybe drafting on the big flat track at Indianapolis. You given any thought to how that will pan out? I mean, we're hoping it pans out as well as tonight did, but any thoughts on that?
Okay. I'll take that, I guess. I think having track-specific packages is a good thing. I look at Indy is one of the crown jewel events of NASCAR, right? You get the Brickyard 400, Daytona 500. Those are the two biggest races of the year. We can't afford to have a bad show, and I feel like we've had some not very good racing there in the past. You know, the racetrack's just hard to race on for our race cars. There's not a place that we can get clean air to try to catch up the cars in front of us. It's a single groove racetrack. So the theory is, you know, you look at IndyCar there. That's one of their best races because they can draft down the straightaways. And I think you know, directionally, that's what we're going to try to do at a racetrack like that, where the speeds are high, we're on the gas a lot, and it's super hard to even get to a car. Hopefully we can make the runs and be able to you know, see cars draft up and be able to pull out. We're talking a 9-inch spoiler, and that's huge. I think it's going to be a you know, pushing a boulder through the air, and it's not going to be you know, we're going to be on the gas a lot. We're going to be wide open a lot. You know, obviously, you know, horsepower is going to show a lot when we go to a racetrack like that. And obviously a lot of people will be obviously trying to trim their cars out without much drag on the cars. So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, there's a lot of unknowns, but directionally, you know, we got to try something different there because that's one of our most important races of the year.
Very good, guys. Thank you very much for putting on a great weekend, and we'll see you in New Hampshire.